Wendell Hughes joins us now. Welcome. It's nice to see you.
Thanks, Tom. Nice to see you.
You're one of the two Democrats squaring off in the primary coming up on June 25th. You're currently a member of the Clinton County Legislature. You represent Area 8. And how many years have you served on the county legislature?
It's been 4 years now.
4 years. So why now are you running for mayor?
Well, the opportunity came up. I think everybody was kind of surprised when Mayor Rosenquist decided not to run again. So city politics have always intrigued me, and I think I can do a really good job as mayor.
When you announced your campaign for mayor in early February, you said that you had a vision for the city and that you had a 4-point plan. So why don't we begin there? Tell us about your vision for the city.
Well, I mean, in light of like the last year, I think the most important thing is building a team concept with the city. Getting the public involved and having the council involved from day one, having that strong team concept, I think it's become a lot more apparent that that's one of the things that has to be worked on first. And I think I can work with this council. I've reached out to each one of them on different occasions. I've, walked in the parks with each of them in their respective wards, and we've had some really good conversations, and we've shared our visions. They're not always the same, but I think they're at a point where we can come, a little communication, a little compromise, and maybe a solution. That's what I want people to know about me. It doesn't have to be my way.
The second point you talked about is prevention. What are some of the most pressing issues that need that attention?
Well, our kids, we have a lot of issues with our kids. Chairing the health committee and with mental health and addiction underneath that. I've sat down with Jay LeBron and the schools, and I've had a lot of meetings with different people, and we need to address some of the issues. We have to find more things for our kids to do. That I think is huge. Active kids, when I was a kid, each of the parks had their own little theme. We could go down to Bailey and do arts. We could go to the West End and play team sports. Every park had their own little, and we've moved away from that. But getting things for kids out of the house and getting them off the computers and getting them active again, I think is huge.
Do you think the city should have a recreation department? Once again, it obviously eliminated its rec department.
Yeah, we do. We need some sort of rec, and I have some ideas on how to pay for it. And that's one thing, if we can combine some services. We have some beautiful parks, but we have to keep up on them. And our city workers are amazing, but they're stretched. They're just, they do have a lot of things they're trying to do.
You also talk about issues like the overdose crisis,
yes.
Opioids,
huge.
Substance use disorder. Obviously a problem across the North Country, across New York State, across the country.
That's everywhere, right. And it's not a city issue, but it's something the city, the schools, the county, the town, everybody, we have to work together to find. Rochelle Gregory is amazing at mental health and addiction over in the county. They're working really hard behind the scenes, but getting that conversation, so everybody's on the same is what we need to work at.
What about homelessness? Growing problem?
It's a growing problem. It's definitely a growing problem. Christine Peters was looking at establishing a shelter on the base, and that didn't come through. She's still working at trying to find something. You drive around town and you see different camps, shall we say, like behind Texas Roadhouse. I've seen a couple back there. There's a big tent set up. There was a camper back there forever, and you see it all around town and out by the beach in the summer. So it's something we have to.
Is it a bigger problem than most people realize?
I think it is. Because I think we have a lot of people living out of their cars even, and if they had a place to just, like what DSS was trying to set up was a place for they could spend a night and shower. Hard to go get a job and get back on your feet if you can't take care of yourself.
Do you think the city and the region, but the city in particular, needs a homeless shelter?
I think that's another collaborative thing. We just have to work together as a town, the county, everybody together. I don't think that's just a city issue. I think that's a Clinton County issue.
As part of your plan, you also mentioned mental health. Malone, Watertown, other areas are looking to team up with human services organizations to open 24-hour facilities to address people in crisis. Is that something that potentially, if the community looks at a shelter, would address mental health as well?
Yeah. Well, right now, I think the only place you can go if you want to the first stages of recovery, I think, is Malone's the closest place we have. I mean, if you have somebody that's in a crisis point and you have to go to Malone, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, we should have something in Clinton County.
Your third point that you mentioned is infrastructure and upgrading the city's infrastructure. Is housing first and foremost the biggest
housing's
issue?
Huge. I mean, let's face it. But we also have some aging infrastructure. In order for us to grow with housing, and you got to have clean water and a place for our sewer to go. And we have to maintain those too. We've had some issues, up in the town. They were trying to get a new hotel last year, and DEC had some issues with the sewer lines coming in the city. We have to mediate some stormwater. It's not the pretty stuff, but it's very important. I mean, we have to mediate stormwater up there and maybe get our sewer capacity up. I mean, the town's been paying the city for quite a few years to do the sewer, and those lines are at capacity with the stormwater. So I think we really need to expand what our sewer abilities are.
In the past year, though, has the city made great strides? The whole Margaret Street project?
We have done some great things, but we haven't touched that Route 3 and the Ruger Street corridor. I mean, those things are huge too. I mean, and it's hard because it's expensive.
We touched on housing. How big of a problem is the housing crisis in the city of Plattsburgh, and how do you address it?
Housing's huge. If I had a perfect answer for that, I would make a lot of money. But I know one thing we can't do is we can't pass on these Restore New York grants. I mean, they have to, when we have these opportunities, some of these projects, and I'm not privy to what other projects were out there, but I'm sure there's a lot of projects we could have applied these Restore New York grants to, and we have to have a much more public conversation about these before we get to that point. The council has to be aware of everything, and we can't pass on these. These Restore New York grants, I mean, these things, if we could have gotten 25 units somewhere out of it, that's 25 more units than we have today. When it comes to housing, town, city, we just need housing. I would like to have more in the city, and I think Ruger Street, I think the land that we got from the town, I think that's a really good place to start. I don't think it would cost a lot to get the infrastructure there. The costs are always there. I mean, some of those things, I think that's a really good spot to start, because I could really see a nice development up there.
Is the city taking steps as far as zoning that are necessary to help make it more possible to create new housing?
Yeah, I think they're working towards that. And some of the stuff I'm not really in favor of. Some of our most dense areas, I don't think we need to make more dense. I think, some of the stuff they're talking about, I think is really good, and some of it I just don't agree with. And that stuff I'd like to, day one, that's this kind of stuff that we have to really get into. And I don't want to make the densest portions of the city more dense.
Let's talk about some of the other projects that have been on the drawing board over the past several months or even years now. The hotel that's being proposed for the waterfront. Where are you on that?
I'm excited. Anytime somebody wants to invest in the city of Plattsburgh, right? I'm excited about that. But in the same token, it's got to be a right deal. And I think from everything I've been given, I would like to have seen them make more of a commitment to the city of Plattsburgh too. I think they need to pay for some of the infrastructure upgrades needed down there. I mean, I don't think the city taxpayers should have to pay for those infrastructure upgrades needed for that hotel to be built. Well, the city's going to have to pay for some, but I think it's got to be a share.
Would you like to still see that deal move ahead?
Definitely. I mean, like I said, anytime we're expanding that tax base in the city, it's a good thing.
Just up the road, a project that's been on the drawing board for 8 years now, DRI, the Prime project. Where are you on that? Do you favor that project?
I've been on both sides, so it's been so long now. I'm at a point, I just want to see what the court says. At this point, it doesn't matter what I think. I mean, if the court says we can build it, it's going to get built. And if they say we can't build it, we're not going to build it. I mean, I love to see the 100 units, 110 units, I believe it was. I'd actually just love to see the building down there because I can't picture it. I've driven by it and try to picture that there. But is it the right spot? I can't tell you that. And unfortunately, you don't really know how much damage you do to the rest of downtown until it's built, right? So I'm going to we'll let that go to the courts and see how that goes.
The city has implemented paid parking within the past year. Different lots, the city believes that if Prime is built, it can find parking in other spots. What about paying for that? Do you think paid parking is working? Is it bringing in necessary revenue for the city?
I've seen a number of different scenarios on that, and I've seen where we're losing money. And I mean, if we're losing money, I don't know why we're doing it.
Let's ask you about what's happening out at City Beach. Within the past year, the Crate Civic Center demolished, torn down. Was that a mistake?
You know, it's easy to criticize anything after the fact. The building's gone, and essentially, what are we going to do with that now moving forward? I think is a more important thing. No offense, but I would rather see what are we going to do with that land now? It's down. We can't put it back. And judging from the folks that I've spoken to, they'd like to see, I mean, a small amphitheater, or a small concert venue, but that's got to be public-private partnerships. And there's a lot of things moving forward. I mean, there's been so many studies done on the beach. It's an amazing piece of property, and something we really need to do something with that.
You talked about recreation a little bit earlier. I know a number of people were disappointed when the Crate was torn down. They lost a facility where kids could play soccer and flag football indoors during the winter. There's been talk about trying to come up with a replacement, the region getting together, the surrounding towns teaming up with the city and building some sort of a recreational facility, an indoor recreational facility. Mm-hmm. Where are you on that? Do you think that's something that the city should take the lead on?
I'm going to say I think the county should take the lead on that. Quite frankly, I think the county is a bigger entity, and I think the county should take the lead on that. Should the city and the town be involved? Definitely, most definitely. All the towns in the county should be involved. I mean, it's important to get something, and I know the YMCA has spoken. Justin has spoken about maybe putting something behind the YMCA. There's a lot of interest in the public to make something happen.
What would be the biggest change you would make as mayor?
I would love to bring positive, something more positive. How's that? You look online and people say, oh, it's always something negative. Politics, I think, have taken to a negative road, and I want to make that positive.